I'm honestly not sure anyone in my life knows the extent of this secret, and when I allude to it, my loved ones think I am joking. Over 10 years ago, I got a job in the tech industry. It was an entry-level role, and I only got the job because a family friend worked at the company and specifically vouched for me. I'm sure the fact that I landed this position would have raised eyebrows if anyone else bothered to look at my CV. I have no relevant qualifications or experience for this position. I was not studious at school. I went to a low-standing university and got a completely irrelevant degree. And I didn't even do well at it. I messed around with partying and got poor grades the entire way through. I didn't have a passion for the tech industry or the company, and I certainly don't now. My job is completely meh. I don't hate it, but I don't care about it either. And yet, after a decade in the company, I have been promoted 7 times. I now head up a department in the operations area of the business and manage a team of employees below me. I earn an extremely good wage that's very, very far above the national average. So my secret is this: I know basically zero about the business or industry still. I am not good at my job and am basically clueless. I've simply managed to befriend people higher up in the business, which has earned me multiple legs up in the company, above people who deserve it far more than myself. I cannot emphasize this enough. I breeze through day to day doing very little. And when a question arises that I don't know the answer, I Google it and change the wording so I don't immediately draw attention to my incompetence.
Why is this a slay in my mind?
I mean, there's so much that I want to say.
Day to day, I do the bare minimum, take long lunches and exaggerate whatever small tasks are on my plate to appear like I'm busier than I am. Before you try to console me and say something like imposter syndrome, let me assure you, I am not suffering from imposter syndrome.
Oh, honey, wasn't gonna.
I am genuinely an imposter who networked and faked her way to the top. I do not understand half of the language that is used in our meetings and would struggle to even talk through what my job description means. In fact, I don't think I could have really explained any of my roles from the second promotion onwards. Now, obviously, I'm not a moron. I have a lot of street smarts and intelligence, but I've used the intelligence I do have to avoid discovery as a fraud rather than actually learn the role itself. My conscience about all of this has been clear until recently, when one of my friends who joined the company at the same time as me has just left. This friend worked their butt off for years and has never received a single promotion. This sort of shifted my focus to evaluate what I'm doing and consider whether potentially taking opportunities from people who deserve it more than me is morally wrong. I've never necessarily cheated to get my position, but I have exaggerated, bluffed, and faked it. I have also heavily lent on connections and friendships to advance my own interests and make more money, even when I haven't earned it. I've started to feel guilty and wondering whether it's only a matter of time until I'm found out. I have been carrying this burden for a very long time now. For over 10 years, I have been telling everyone that I am dating, and more recently, am engaged to a man I have only met once. I have been inventing the story of my life for so long, and I don't know how to go back and fix it. I first connected with this guy, Liam, when we were both in high school. We were in an online study forum and exchanged numbers. We texted back and forth every single day for 2 years straight, but because we lived far apart and were still teenagers, we only ever saw each other in person once. It was an incredibly intense, connected friendship that existed almost purely online. At some point, his messages dried up and he drifted away, but I didn't. I'm still right in that place, excited by his existence, infatuated with him and the idea of what we could be together, as if I'm still a teenager. Back when I was still talking to Liam online, my best friend told me a boy asked her to be his girlfriend and I panicked. I had an extremely strict, limiting childhood, with parents who didn't let me experience anything really. I was barely let out of the house. I knew my boring home life was going to damage my friendships. So out of desperation to fit in, I exaggerated my friendship with Liam and told her he was my boyfriend. From that day on, I've kept up this lie. It's literally a decade later and I've only embellished more and more. On multiple occasions, I've generated new phone numbers for Liam and created fake WhatsApp conversations and Instagram accounts to keep up the pretense that we are together, madly in love, and now planning a wedding. Once I even pretended we were away on a week-long holiday together, but really just stayed in my apartment all alone.
That's the plot of a film.
Yeah. A sad film.
It's like I'm a catfish, but the only person I'm catfishing is myself. I am 27 and have found myself in a bigger hole than you can imagine. At times, this lie has become so deep, so intricate, at some points I've genuinely convinced myself that we really are together. I feel like I'm on the cusp of losing my mind. And yes, it's not lost on me that I seriously need to book in with a psychologist ASAP.
Beat me to it, girlfriend.
As the years have gone by, the reasons as to why Liam can't meet the people I love the most have evolved too. I have told stories that largely revolve around drug addiction, that Liam is an addict and is often in treatment or in rehabilitation facilities and therefore isn't in the right state of mind to meet my friends and family. Obviously, given they all now think he's about to become my husband, this is becoming increasingly hard to maintain. What's bizarre is that it turns out my fictional version of events hasn't always been that removed from reality. I created a fake Instagram account recently to talk to Liam and get to know him. And after getting to know him over deep and meaningful DMs, it turns out I was right. Many of the things I invented about him are true. This weird overlap between my imagination and his reality has only confused me more. It's like I really do know Liam without actually knowing him at all. I am so in love with someone who is a stranger and yet isn't really a stranger, if that makes sense. This was a big mistake from me in the end. Liam figured out I wasn't who I was pretending to be on Instagram and called me out on it. I was and am devastated. Now I feel dangerously on the edge of everything falling apart and my friends discovering my big lie too. This has destroyed my life. I haven't been able to establish a single meaningful relationship because, even though I know it makes zero sense, in my mind I am Liam's fiancé. I feel like such a terrible person. How do I get myself out of this without losing the people I love?
Am I in the wrong for refusing to give up my extra seat for someone else's toddler on a flight that I paid for because I'm fat? I, 34, female, am obese. I'm actively working toward losing weight and I've made progress, but I'm still obese. I was going over to see my brother and his husband for Christmas across the country, and because I'm fat, I booked an extra seat so that everyone could be more comfortable. I know it sucks having to pay for an extra seat, but it is what it is. I know Southwest Airlines has this customer of size policy, but I've had some bad experiences with Southwest even before I was obese, so I wasn't doing all that. And it's mostly my fault I even got fat. Everything goes smoothly from checking into security and boarding, at least at first. This woman comes to my row with a boy who appeared to be about 1 year old. She told me to squeeze into one seat so that her son could sit in the other. She told me, not asked. I told her no and that I paid for the seat for the extra space. She makes a big fuss over it, which then got the flight attendant's attention. She told the flight attendant that I was stealing the seat from her son. Then I showed my boarding passes, proving that I, in fact, paid for the extra seat. The flight attendant asked me if I could try to squeeze in, but I said no, that I wanted the extra seat that I paid for. The boy, who the mom said is 18 months old, was supposed to sit in her lap so he could do just that. The flight attendant eventually told the mom to put her son in her lap. I got dirty looks and passive-aggressive remarks from her and the entire flight, and I do feel a little bad because the boy looked hard to control, so am I in the wrong?
Am I wrong for taking away my daughter's gifts because she didn't spend Christmas with us? My daughter Leah's mother and I were never married, but we did officially separate when she was 5. I got with my wife Naya when Leah was around 9 and married her when she was 12. The thing is, Leah never got on with Naya, didn't want to spend time with her, and was just generally very unpleasant to her. We are currently in family therapy, and honestly, I think Leah says the meanest things possible to avoid actually discussing her feelings. And mind you, she's absolutely amazing to hang around with one-on-one, but it's very unpleasant around Naya. Anyways, we were all supposed to spend Christmas together as per our custody agreement. Leah is 16 now, and we have been more lenient, but always adhere to our agreement for holidays and birthdays. Well, on Christmas Eve, Leah went to see her boyfriend's family and drop off her gifts. At around 6, I called her and asked when she was coming home, and she said she was staying. Am I wrong for taking away my daughter's gifts because she didn't spend Christmas with us? I know her mom lives near her boyfriend and asked if she was going there. She didn't answer, so I told her to come home, and she pretty much agreed but never did. So I did call her boyfriend's parents, and they confirmed she went to her mother's. Naya was heartbroken because she felt like Leah didn't want to be there because of her. And this year, Naya handled all the gifts. She did the work of going in stores, picking them up, picking them out, everything. That's when she said she wanted to spend it with her real mom. I said that's fine, but when she asked about her gifts, I said her fake mom got them for her, so she doesn't need them. Needless to say, she's upset with me and hasn't said anything. Naya did appreciate it, but does feel that Leah is a lost cause and I should just give her the presents.